Have you ever felt like your fishing spot has a 15-minute timer on it? You show up, everything is perfect. You get a few bites, maybe land a fish or two, and then silence, complete and total shutdown. It's like the fish just vanished. What if I told you it's not bad luck, it's not the weather, and it's not your bait? What if I told you that you are the one setting off that timer? In this video, we are going to expose the so-called 15-minute curse for what it really is. A predictable chain reaction that most anglers trigger without even knowing it. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to disarm it and keep the bite going. So, let me ask you, do you think fish are smart enough to time you, or is something else going on? Let me know in the comments. For generations, we've come up with 1,000 excuses for when the bite suddenly dies. The pressure changed. A predator must have spooked them. They just moved on. We blame everything but ourselves. It's a comfortable habit. It protects our ego and lets us believe we did everything right. This belief is so ingrained that we pass it down. Old-timers teach the new guys the same old stories. We spend years, even decades, fishing the exact same way. We arrive, we set up, we catch a few, and then we wait patiently for the fish to turn back on. But they rarely do. The truth is that initial hot bite isn't the beginning of a great day. For many, it's the beginning of the end. And it all goes back to the fundamental misunderstanding of our own impact on the underwater world from the moment our boots hit the bank. Let's start with a concept I call the shockwave of arrival. Picture this. It's a calm morning, the water is like glass. To a fish, this environment is all about subtle vibrations and sounds. Then you arrive, you slam a car door, you drop a heavy tackle box on the ground, your footsteps on the bank or the dock send low-frequency vibrations straight into the water. To us, it's just the sound of getting ready. To a fish, it's a series of unexplained explosions in their world. You haven't even made a cast yet, but you've already put every fish within 50 yards on high alert. They don't know you're an angler, they just know something big, loud, and unnatural has just invaded their home. This is the first link in the chain reaction. The timer has started, not because of what you're doing in the water, but because of what you did just getting to it. Now let's talk about something that happens before your line even gets wet, your shadow. Many anglers, especially when fishing from the bank, completely forget they cast a giant moving shadow across the water. On a sunny day, this shadow is a dark, looming shape that moves unnaturally. What does that look like to a fish looking up from below? It looks exactly like a bird of prey, like a heron or some other predator about to strike. Fish are hardwired for survival, and their instinct is to flee from large, dark shapes moving above them. You might be standing there, admiring the view, while your 5-foot-long shadow is systematically clearing out the very spot you're about to fish. You're scaring away the most vulnerable and often the most active fish before you even bait your hook. This is a classic rookie mistake that even experienced fishermen make when they aren't paying attention to the sun's position. The next mistake is all about noise discipline, or the lack of it. Let's say you've made your first cast. Now you're fidgeting. You open your tackle box, the plastic latches make a loud snap. You drop your pliers on the bottom of your aluminum boat, a deafening clang that resonates through the hull and into the water. You cough, you talk loudly to your buddy. To you, these are minor background noises, but sound travels over 4 times faster and much farther in water than in air. That little click of you closing your thermos is a sharp, alarming sound underwater. Every one of these noises reinforces the danger signal that your arrival started. The fish that were initially just curious and on alert are now becoming genuinely spooked. They associate this strange new place of noise and vibration with danger. This is why the quiet, patient old-timer who seems to barely move often outfishes everyone else. There's another invisible factor at play, your scent. You're probably thinking, come on, how can they smell me from the bank? Well, you'd be surprised. Think about what's on your hands. You might have gasoline residue from filling up the boat or the car. You definitely have bug spray or sunscreen on. You grab your bait, your lure, your line. You are now marinating your offering in a cocktail of chemicals that do not exist in the natural underwater world. A fish's sense of smell is incredibly sensitive, often hundreds of times better than a bloodhound's. When they approach your bait, they're not just smelling the worm, they're smelling the DEET from your insect repellent. This chemical signature screams unnatural and danger. Even the natural oils and amino acids on your own skin can be a negative signal to wary fish. Your scent is a silent fish repellent you carry with you on every trip. So, with all that disturbance, why do you get bites in those first 15 minutes at all? This is what I call the curiosity window. In any population of fish, you have a spectrum of personalities. You have the bold, the aggressive, and frankly, the dumb ones. When you first cast your bait into this newly disturbed area, these are the fish that bite first. They are the scouts, the hungry juveniles, or the aggressive bullies of the school. Their hunger or territorial instinct temporarily overrides their caution. They see a new food source appear, and they rush in to grab it before anyone else does. You are not, in fact, experiencing a hot bite from the entire school. You are simply weeding out the least cautious fish in the area, and there are only so many of them. Once they're gone, you're left with the smarter, more wary majority. Let's build on that idea. You're not just catching the dumbest fish, you're catching the sacrificial scouts. Think of it like a herd of deer entering a meadow. A few brave ones will venture out into the open first to see if it's safe. In the water, it's the same. These aggressive fish are the first to investigate the disturbance you caused. Your lure or bait is the first thing they see, and they attack it. When you hook one, it serves as a massive red flag to every other fish watching. They see their buddy suddenly start panicking, thrashing, and then getting dragged away by an invisible force into the sky. This is the most effective danger signal imaginable. You haven't just caught a fish, you've provided a live-action demonstration to the rest of the school on exactly what to avoid. Every fish you land in that first flurry is an alarm bell you're ringing underwater. The fight itself is a huge problem. When you hook a fish, it doesn't just come quietly to the boat. It panics, it thrashes wildly, it pulls drag, it might even jump. This chaotic struggle sends out powerful distress signals. First, there are the visual cues. The rest of the school sees the panicked, erratic movements of their schoolmate. This is a universal sign of a predator attack. Second, and more importantly, are the chemical signals. Many species of fish release a pheromone, a scent of fear, from their skin when they are injured or under extreme stress. This chemical alarm spreads through the water and tells every other fish in the area, danger, predator, here, flee. So that 5-minute fight with a nice base you just had, you were basically flooding your own fishing spot with a chemical that screams, stay away. Now the fish is in the boat or on the bank. What happens next? The post-catch ruckus. You're excited. You hold the fish up for a photo. You might be talking loudly. Then you have to get the hook out. You're fumbling with pliers. The fish is flopping around on the deck or in the grass, making even more noise and vibration. If you release it, you often just toss it back into the water with a big splash, right on top of the spot you want to keep fishing. That fish, still panicked, darts away, spreading more fear signals. If you put it on a stringer or in a live well, its continued stress can continue to send out negative vibrations. You've successfully turned your prime fishing spot into the scene of a recent violent abduction. The rest of the fish aren't going to stick around to see what happens next. They're gone. Think about your casting pattern. Your first few casts, when you arrive at a new spot, are usually your best. You're focused. You're trying to be precise, to land the lure gently next to that log or along that weed line. Then, after 15 minutes, when the bites stop, what happens? You start to get impatient. Your casts become less precise. You start trying different areas, maybe casting farther, and the lure lands with a much louder plop. You start retrieving faster, or more erratically. You've changed your presentation from a subtle invitation to a clumsy intrusion. The The wary fish that were left, the ones that might have been tempted by a perfect cast, are now completely put off by this new, sloppy approach. Your own frustration is being translated into your technique, and it's only making the problem worse. Now we come to one of the biggest angler traps of all, the myth of staying put. The logic seems sound. I caught fish here, so this must be a good spot. I'll just wait for them to come back. So you sit there for 30 minutes, an hour. You recast to the same exact spot 100 times, but you have to remember what's happened. You've systematically removed the most aggressive fish, you've educated the rest of them with a live demonstration of danger, you've filled the water with noise, vibration, and fear sense. You've turned a good spot into a danger zone. The fish haven't just moved on, they have actively flagged this specific little area as a place to avoid. Staying put and hammering the same piece of water is like a hunter sitting in a field right after he fired his rifle, wondering why all the other deer ran away and aren't coming back. There's another subtle change you're causing. Let's say you're using chum or bait. In the first few minutes, your offerings attract the target species, the bigger, more desirable fish. But as you continue to put bait in the water, and as the bigger fish get caught or spooked, a second wave of visitors arrives. These are the smaller nuisance fish, the tiny perch, the bluegills, the shiners. They are less cautious and swarm the area. Their frantic activity can actually deter the larger, wary fish from returning. It's like a fine dining restaurant that suddenly gets overrun by a loud, rowdy crowd. The original patrons are going to leave. So your continued attempts to sweeten the spot are actually just making it less attractive to the very fish you want to catch. You've accidentally changed the entire dynamic of the food chain in your tiny spot. Let's be brutally honest about what's happened. In those first 15 minutes, you created what I call a pocket of depletion. In a small, defined area, like a specific piece of cover or a drop-off, there are only a finite number of active fish at any given moment. These are the fish that are positioned to feed. When you catch 2 or 3 of them from that one specific spot, you may have literally caught all the fish that were willing to bite. It's not that the lake is empty, it's that this one tiny piece of real estate is now empty of aggressive fish. The others in the area are either hunkered down, not in a feeding mood, or have moved just a few feet away into thicker cover after witnessing the commotion. You've effectively fished out your own honey hole in a matter of minutes. Let's talk about ice fishing for a moment, because it's a perfect, condensed example of this whole process. You drill a hole, that's a massive amount of noise and vibration. Then you clear the slush. More noise. You set up your gear, maybe scrape your boots on the ice. All of this alerts the fish. Then you drop your lure down. The most aggressive fish, often perch or small walleye, shoot in and grab it immediately. You catch a few. The fight in that confined column of water is highly visible. After a few fish, the hole goes dead. Why? You've created a perfect vertical danger tube. The wise, larger fish sitting just off to the side saw the whole thing happen. They now associate that column of light from your hole with disappearing fish. They will not enter it. The 15-minute curse is even faster on the ice. This brings us to a crucial concept: fishing pressure on a micro scale. We all know about fishing pressure on a lake-wide scale, where lots of boats and anglers make the fishing tougher over a season. But most of us don't think about the intense, localized pressure we create in our own little spot within minutes. Your presence is the source of that pressure. Every cast, every retrieve, every hooked fish, every noise you make contributes to it. Fish, especially pressured fish in public waters, are incredibly attuned to this. They can tell the difference between a natural splash and a 1-ounce sinker hitting the water. They learn to associate the hum of a trolling motor or the silhouette of a boat with danger. In your 15-minute window, you are concentrating a full day's worth of fishing pressure into one tiny area. The fish respond the only way they know how. They shut down or leave. Here's a mistake that's so simple, people overlook it: your clothing and gear. Are you wearing a bright yellow or white shirt on a clear sunny day? To fish, you are a giant, unnatural beacon of light standing against the sky. It makes your silhouette even more pronounced and easier to see. What about a headlamp for night or low-light fishing? Many anglers will unconsciously sweep the beam of light across the water's surface right where they are about to cast. This is the equivalent of shining a spotlight on a deer. You've just announced your presence and position to every creature in the water. These are unforced errors. Choosing drab, earth-toned clothing and being disciplined with your light sources can make a significant difference in how long the fish remain unaware of and unbothered by your presence. It extends that crucial window. Do fish have memory? This is a huge debate, but we're not talking about them remembering your face. We are talking about conditioning, which is a form of memory. It's simple cause and effect learning. If a fish is in a certain spot and experiences a sudden, violent, and negative event, like being hooked or seeing another fish get hooked, it will associate that spot with danger. This conditioning can be immediate and last for hours, if not days. So when the bite stops, it's not because the fish forgot you were there. It's because they have been conditioned in real time to recognize that your little patch of water is now a place where bad things happen. They have learned their lesson for the day, and they are not coming back for another try. You have successfully educated the local population. So, how do we break the curse? The first step is what I call the stealth approach. This changes the game before you even make a cast. Park your vehicle farther away. Close the doors quietly. When you walk to your spot, walk softly. Don't walk right up to the water's edge. Stop 10 or 15 feet back and get all your gear ready there. Rig your rod, open your tackle, and prepare everything you need for the first 30 minutes of fishing. Only then should you quietly approach the water, staying low and using cover if possible. Make your first casts from farther back. This entire process minimizes that initial shockwave. You're trying to slip into the environment unnoticed, like a predator, not announce your arrival like a marching band. This alone can extend your biting window significantly. The next strategy is the one and done method. It goes against every instinct to stay in a spot where you just caught a fish, but it's deadly effective. As soon as you land a fish from a specific piece of cover, a log, a rock pile, a dock piling, you immediately stop fishing that exact spot. The reason is simple. You've already spooked everything in the immediate vicinity. That one aggressive fish you caught was your shot. Instead of hammering that now dead water, make your next cast 5 to 10 feet to the left or right of it. Target the next piece of cover. By doing this, you are always presenting your bait to fresh, unspooked fish. You methodically pick apart an area piece by piece instead of ruining one good spot by overfishing it after the first sign of success. This leads to a larger strategy. Rest and rotate. No spot stays hot forever, especially after you've been there. The professional approach is to have 3 or 4 promising spots identified before you even start. Fish your first spot using the stealth approach. As soon as that 15-minute window closes and the bite dies, don't wait around. Leave immediately. Go to spot number 2 and repeat the process. Then move to spot number 3. After an hour or 2, you can circle back to your very first spot. Why does this work? Because you have given it time to recover. The negative scent and distress signals have dissipated. The fish that were spooked have had time to calm down and may have moved back in. You are essentially allowing the spot to reset, and you can often trigger another 15-minute flurry of action. Finally, let's talk about matching the decay. You need to adapt your technique as the bite slows down. Your first casts can be with a more aggressive, attention-grabbing lure to trigger those initial reaction strikes from the boldest fish. But as soon as that bite slows, you must assume the remaining fish are the wary, educated ones. This is the time to switch to a more subtle, finesse presentation. Downsize your line, use a smaller lure, and slow your retrieve way down. Go from a noisy topwater to a silent, slow-sinking soft plastic. You are changing your message from, "Hey, look at me, I'm an easy meal," to, "Don't mind me, I'm just a natural little creature doing my thing." This subtle approach is the only way you're going to tempt a fish that has already been put on high alert. You have to outsmart their newly acquired caution. So, there you have it. The 15-minute curse isn't a curse at all, it's a script that we, the anglers, write and direct every single time we go out. The big aha moment is realizing that the bite doesn't just die, we kill it. We kill it with our noise, our shadows, our scent, and our clumsy celebratory commotion. The most game-changing realization is that every fish you catch is actively working against you, sending out alarm signals to every other fish in the area. This completely flips the script on how you should approach a fishing spot. It's not about finding the fish, it's about not scaring them away once you do. This knowledge can fundamentally change your success rate. You can stop being a victim of the 15-minute clock and start becoming a master of a quiet, methodical, and much more productive approach. Thank you so much for watching. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that breaks down the why of fishing. Now, I want to know, what is the single biggest mistake from this list that you think you've been making all these years? Let's talk about it in the comments.